welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott. And greetings, blessings, salutations, and love. Sincerely, welcome back once again to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott, and I am filled once again with inspiration. And I want to address a few things right off the start, some housekeeping and things. First of all, Stacy, blessings to you. I'm not sure how familiar you are with the YouTube stuff. I've been adding some moderators to people. What that does is you're more part of the community. You can look at the profiles of other people. You can see what their channel's about with the mod feature in the chat. You can share links and stuff. You can help with the community and have some fun. So sincerely, not to out anybody, but Stacy and I go way back, all the way to high school. That was who I mentioned the other night. I was going to watch an artist perform, and it was my friend Stacy. So thank you for returning today and joining as well. And blessings to everyone. Sincerely, the idea I was thinking for today is recognizing faith. Well, let's start with the thumbnail, right? First of all, Magnificent Monday. My wish for all of us, all of you, anyone who joins in the here and now and those in the later, thank you. And my wish for us all on this magnificent Monday afternoon, Monday evening, or whatever time it is. Love. Love is exquisitely simple and profoundly magnificent. And really, that is what I have been learning for myself, sincerely. The dimensions of love, the mysteries of love, and it's not just love. We can only know anything, love, reality, life. We can only know that through the truth. The truth is so exquisite. It is somewhat simple, and yet at the same time, profoundly magnificent. Love and truth and life and God, those things are inseparable. Love and truth and God and life are inseparable, except in our minds, right? The mind is the gateway from the heavens into the earthly realm, and we are the governors, we're the controllers. So my goal for today is, what I've been learning for myself is, once we know the goal, once we understand what we're trying to do and trying to achieve, things get more simple. We can usually find our way, even if we don't have every detail, every answer. If we know where we're going, if we know the destination, the goal, the objective, the achievement that we're seeking to experience, it's all about gaining clarity. So what I want to offer today is, through our awareness, communicating, right? Sharing words through communication. I hope to bring more awareness into the faith that you may already have. It might be misplaced. It might be faith. It might not even be recognizable. It might be your faith and your love and your peace. Those may be hidden behind illusions, patterns of thought, patterns of behavior. So what I'm trying to point to is, what I hope to do is bring some clarity in your mind to the faith that you may already possess. Because when you see what your faith results in the peace of knowing, well, then you've got a more clear-minded objective. And with a clear-minded objective, life just seems to happen. It's more simple this way. So I don't know if I mentioned it. I had this thought right before I started. I know how I talk. I know how I learn as well. And I know my mind has been blessed. God has blessed me with opportunities for my mind to travel into places and things, regions that I didn't consider in my past. So the point is, if available and you feel like it, make some notes. Consider some of these thoughts later for yourself, please, because I'm really doing this with the hopes that the faith, I'm doing these streams with the faith that this will lead to a greater world, a more healthy world, more vibrant world, generous world. Can you imagine a world where everyone was generous? Where the most generous people, those were the ones who were rewarded instead of the most selfish people? We've got this world like all backwards and mixed up because, well, praise God, right? Praise God. This is God's story, and we're just figuring out how to tell the tale. What I've been learning for myself, I've mentioned this in prior streams, and for those who are familiar and are looking for it, I do intend to drop the link and probably open up the conversations for those who are available. I didn't send out as many invitations today as I had been or have been, but I'm always hopeful and excited to see what the future brings. Well, in here, not to keep getting into the drama, it's not to interrupt the what I'm hoping to offer with the drama, but there's been drama happening. For those who are familiar with the Talcottian adventure and the land of Unslavia, with Paul Unslaved, proper instruction motivates people. Oh my goodness, man. What? Well, part of my experience today brings forth some of these inspirations, some of these ideas that I want to discuss and hopefully communicate it with us about. I've talked about in some of the previous streams, life really is about relationships. Okay. And the most important relationship that any of us are going to have is our relationship with ourselves. Okay. And our relationship with ourself is going to be very intimately connected to the relationship to all else, to God. Okay. To the higher power. If you've got a fear of God in your heart and you're walking around with terror and guilt and shame because you're just never good enough for what you've imagined God's expectations of you, well, you're not going to have a real comfortable relationship in your skin. I've lived like this, okay? So what I've been realizing, one of the thoughts I didn't get to yesterday, I don't think I did, uh, the gateway, the gatekeeper of all of our relationships, it's communication. Communication, and well, it's not just communication, but for the most part, the key is communication. It's through conversation between beings, conversations with ourselves. I have conversations with the truth. I encourage you to do that as well. Seek the truth, seek the answers from the truth. Okay, these are the facts. What is truth telling me? What are the facts showing me? What is the world revealing to me? What is God's truth showing? Where is it found? I find it in the facts. So it segued from the idea of communicating and conversation, but speaking thoughts through. The patterns of our ego, the patterns of our primitive, selfish, reactive nature, the fleshly body, those patterns are, Well, they're short-sighted, especially the way the world has taught us, right? The world has taught us to be in a hurry. You got to be in a rush. You got to be in a rush to plan, to wait. Military motto, man. Hurry up and wait. Get where you're going so you can sit around and do nothing for a long time. Seems I've done that an awful lot in my life. Hurry up and wait, man. But part of what I want to offer today, I want you to consider for yourself. When was the last time you allowed yourself just to reset, to release, to renew, to restart, to regroup? When was the last time you allowed yourself just to be done, to detach, right? And just be still. Because it's in the stillness, when we allow our minds to settle, it allows our nervous system inside of us to start to heal, to start to relax. Our bodies aren't made to be filled with all these chemicals of adrenaline and all the, I don't know all the neurochemicals, but it's easily known. When we get into these states of agitation and fear and confusion, which the world literally profits from, I'm going to let you in on that secret too. The world is corrupt. Okay, so the worldly ways can easily corrupt us, and then we start doing things that we resent. We start doing things that we hate. And then we hate ourselves for the things that we do. So, well, I raised my hand as a kid to serve the military for a paycheck. I had to resolve a lot of emotions and thoughts about myself through my life just from that simple act. The oath that a child takes, that a man or a woman takes when they commit themselves into that, they're processing those thoughts of, am I true to this? Am I willing to die for what this is offering? Boy, I'm getting off track here, getting into the military stuff. Oh, yes, there's a clear, oh, okay, whoops. Recognizing and growing in faith. I heard it pointed out by a different, by Shunyamurti, by a different mystical teacher earlier today. Those who find themselves on a spiritual path, and we are all on a spiritual path, I encourage you, don't resist that idea, embrace that idea, and then understand what that means to you. So those who are on a spiritual path are seeking their own enlightenment. What the own enlightenment is to raise your consciousness. And raising your consciousness brings forth a liberation. You become more free in your spirit. The results and the feelings that come through by these ideas, I've never experienced feelings like this in my life. Okay. I mean, the way my body feels and the way my spirit feels through me, the way that faith leads me. Faith has been leading my choices and my deeds for several years now. I've been growing in this practice, living day, not just month to month, not just week to week, not just day to day, but moment by moment. Because what I've been finding is this, as you allow yourself, and here, my life, admittedly, my life has been different than many others. My life has been quite different than it was in the past. Had my life not changed the way that it did, I wouldn't have experienced this and been able to share this so confidently. But it's a practice I believe that we can all start picking up, living life in the presence with faith as though there is a loving God in this world that's here for you. And all you've got to do, all any of us have to do to follow the way of God is to follow what love leads, right? Follow the truth, follow love honestly. Because love, man, love is exquisitely simple and profoundly magnificent. See, love is. To know love, it's simply to remove those things that are not love from you. So, what is not love within you? Do you know? This is what I mean. When was the last time you paused to really contemplate, to really reflect on who you are, why you are here? Because all of us, every one of us, we've been uniquely created for a purpose, a divine purpose, greater than what we may have realized yet. But every day there's new unfoldings, there's new truth, new experiences being, well, happening. We are the happening that is happening each day. We are the living truth of today. Just as there's records of all those stories of different people in the past, we are the ones who are here today. And in the future, they'll be looking back at us saying, hey, what were they doing? Is the future going to be grateful for us? I believe they will. That's my goal. It's my goal for sure. So back to the idea, spiritual path. Spiritual path is seeking enlightenment. Seeking enlightenment is an expansion of your consciousness. An expansion of the consciousness could be an expanding of the awareness, aware of more knowledge, aware of more aspects, aware of more perspectives in the world. You move your mind beyond just your narrow-minded, short-sighted vision that the natural world has created us. When you liberate yourself, you free yourself from the attachments of old memories. Let go of the ones that don't serve. Build yourself up. Fill yourself with the memories that bring you joy, that bring you peace, that bring you love. The painful memories, find the lesson in there, be grateful for the lesson, and let those things go. Well, I don't mean to tell people what to do. What I do believe, though, is that God does not intend for our suffering. God does not intend for us to believe that our enemies have more power than God. And if we believe God is with us, then you can believe God is for us. It seems to me a logical, reasoned progression, right? If God is with us, God is for us. Life is for us. The world is for us. What are we for? The world profits from the masses of people being confused and fighting amongst each other, fighting with themselves. There's been profitable manipulation that has corrupted our world, and this is our lifetime to change it. So, brothers and sisters, here's a couple more things I'm going to get to, and then I'm going to open the link up for those who may wish to be around. I agree. If God didn't intend for suffering to exist, God wouldn't have created suffering. Period. So why does suffering exist? Could it be for the experience, for the opportunity of others to feel the blessing of ending suffering? See, I consider this in my own recovery from alcoholism. When I stopped drinking, I felt so alone, so afraid. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to be. I didn't know where to turn. And how do you ask? How do you ask someone, how do I be me? How do I be me different than I was? I mean, that's really what I was trying to figure out. And it was frightening. But I remember the care from some of the technicians at the detox center, some of the counselors, some of the people they brought in, the healers the healers that were brought in to the outpatient program with the counselors. Those people received fulfillment, right? They got to see me in my worst, in my suffering, just helpless. And they got to be strong for me. They got to feel the good feelings of helping someone recover. That's a gift, right? So suffering is there for a purpose. Suffering brings forth our change, our movement. We'll suffer until we move sometimes, but there is a purpose for all things. Well, how can we end something God created? We accept responsibility for our participation or our inaction. See, if there's a lot of suffering going on in this world, then that means there's a lot of good men and women who are preoccupied with other things. You see the suffering in Palestine, Ukraine, Uganda, famine and wars all over the world. God didn't create those. God allowed those. Mankind chooses the governments we want. I suggest, brothers and sisters, I've mentioned this before, you help me get a chance, you help me get a foot in the door so I can start communicating with people in positions that might be willing to do something, who might, no, I don't even care if they might be willing. If they might have the capacity and the ability to bring forth some change, help me get my foot in their door. Help me get some attention. I believe the world has lost its way, and it's time. It is time that God's love, God's truth become known. It's undeniable. But I don't believe God forces, God doesn't impose, God reveals, God shows, and God allows. We have the Spirit of God within us when we humble ourselves. When you move beyond your selfish nature, it's really this simple. The will within your mind is the will of God that God's allowing you to use, just in limited capacities. So we've got the power of God with us, around us, through us. Do we want to work with God or not? Well, and I hate to do this. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm going to point it out because it seems to be overlooked. I claim that there's enough evidence from my perspective, and please, I'm choosing my words trying to be accurate, okay? I don't want to be misunderstood or taken wrong. But I've seen a lot of evidence from my perspective that makes me believe that God is using me as a messenger. I've been studying communication for some reason. I've been learning the things that I have for a reason. The evolution of history and religions and consciousness and society and the corruption and at the same time I've been learning a lot about a lot of things, but it's what God allowed me to do. It's what I chose to do based on what I wanted. So what I want to do is to be a messenger for the truth of God's love. Okay. Now, if that's true, well, then that means that God is working with me, I'm sure. There's a lot of Part of the inspiration I had earlier today in my exchange with online communities, I was observing and I wonder, why does it seem that so many people seem to find joy and entertainment from the suffering of others? I'm watching people making fun of me and my relationship issues, my financial issues, my housing situation. I'm literally watching people making fun of me, having fun. And some of the stuff is funny, but like, that's kind of evil, don't you think? And how common is it? How common is it? Do we see people being blamed for their circumstance, right? The homeless are certainly judged. Yes, we all do things to warrant some of the reputation, but every person is unique. Every one of us, every one of us has the Spirit of Christ within us, with us. And when we disrespect each other, when we fail to care about each other, we're harming our own character, right? So I honestly think the energies, even in the chat, have been changing. Maybe it's because the audience has shifted, but um, there's a lot of insults being offered. And I encourage, if you feel the urge to be insulting to someone, check yourself, right? Every time we point a finger, there's three fingers pointing back at us, right? So, and then this is the other. Here, I'm going to go ahead and drop these links. There was just one more I wanted to talk about anyway. So there's that. And thank you again to all of those who may be joining over on Rumble. Facebook and StreamYard did some changes again. So I am back. Oh, wow. I'm back on my other Facebook profile instead of my personal one, which I kind of like doing it on the other one anyway. My personal one gets cluttered up. Anyway, I don't need to get off on that. For those who wish to join, please and thank you. You are welcome to do so. And no, Lizard Tree, it's the energies are shifting. People are becoming more kind, more encouraging, more loving, more accepting. That's the world I want to create. I want to help create. I want us to experience together. I want a world where we encourage one another. We accept one another, encourage one another. We offer forth polite corrections, right? Little adjustments. We don't need to bash each other around and tell each other we don't need to be insulting. We can all do better. And when we all do better, it'll be easier. When I started doing this a long time ago, I thought I was alone in my efforts. I did. I was committed to being loving and kind, overcoming my anger, being generous, forgiving, compassionate. I wanted to be more like Christ. I wanted to be more Christ like. So, when I was doing it and I realized that the world I live in focuses not on people, but on money, I realized it was a challenge, right? But I also know for a fact that as more people start to live with love and kindness, willing to just, all right, go ahead. You're just having a bad day. Willing to let things go, willing to move on and do what is right. As more people do that, it's going to get easier because there'll be a lot more examples of strong men and women who are right and moral in their choices. They're gracious and polite in their behavior. Doesn't mean we don't have fun. Of course, we still have fun with each other, but we do it with fun and we be mindful of the positions of other. We don't need to be insulting and kicking people when they're down. That's evil. It's ungodly. And yet it happens all over town, all over the media, all over lots of stuff. I was not a fan of Mr. Rogers when I was a kid, but as an adult, I learned he was an amazing guy. So thank you. And from what I've heard, he was a very loving and kind and gentle man, and that is who I hope to become. I'm not sure why you're in the back. I think that's JG, is it not? I'm going to take a moment and a chance. Welcome. Welcome, my friend. Is that what you showed for? I wonder. I wonder what the reason for that is. Is there an answer available? Do you have an answer? I wonder what that was for.
It's because you're a disrespectful cunt.
According to facts or thoughts? Do you know the difference? Because it seems the facts in this moment of conversation, you were projecting and describing yourself accurately. Is that not correct? I believe it is correct. Thank you for joining. You can have a good day, my friend. See, what I've realized, the egoic arrogance that we see, the egoic arrogance that's become so common in people, it lacks wonder. It's arrogant. See, what people have been taught is to think they know the answers. And if they think of answers, well, then they think they know. And if you think you know, you're not going to wonder. Please follow that. Consider this. This is one of those thoughts I'd like you to consider, okay? For yourself. When we reach points in our life, interactions, relationships, situations, experiences, when things happen in our life, we our awareness is limited. Our perceptions are limited. We do not see all of the details. We don't see all of the factors and variables from the past that may have brought that collision, brought that whatever, that accident, that disagreement, that conflict. We may not see all of the variables, but what we've been conditioned to do is to, well, it is a gift. It's a gift we've got. We've got the ability of imagination and reasoning. So we can follow logic and reasoning in our mind and imagine answers. Here's the flaw, right? The arrogant believe their thoughts are real without any verification, without any doubts. People have become accustomed to believing their thoughts. Well, this might be part of the story. See what happens. Let me be back. I'm not sure what to do here. Just a moment. Well, praise God. It's my life. Um, Appears that other people in town are willing to help other people. I was served a notice of something. So I was served legal papers. So obviously people know how to cooperate with each other in this town, just not with me. I've been asking for a conversation. So, hmm, well, praise God. This is the story of my life. And by God's grace, much of it has been documented. My family and friends, they really haven't been paying much attention, it seems. They've had their own lives they're living. Yet, um, I'm still holding faith. See, one of the things I realized and what I was talking about, the insulting nature that people have picked up so readily. People want to be so quick to throw insults and just be so gleeful, so joyful and excited about the misery and suffering of others. It's fascinating. But see, there's a story in the Bible about a man named Job. Job had it way worse off than me. But my story has many similarities to many stories in the Bible. I don't know about yours. I only know about mine. Mine does. The story of Job has become kind of clear to me over the past several years. See, in my path, rather than the story of Job, who was a man who was already faithful for God, I was stepping out on shaky legs, man. I was turning to God with uncertainty, with a lot of doubts. Yet, first thing I know, my family's gone, then my friends turned against me, then the employer's against me, and all I was trying to do was help people. I was just trying to improve myself. And so for the past many years, I have met with and engaged with many people who want to blame me for their understandings of the circumstances. And so just like Job kept telling his friends, "Hey, there's more to this, right? You're wrong. It's not me. I didn't do this. I didn't seek these damages. I didn't seek to be insulted. I didn't seek to be hated. I didn't seek for my family to leave. No, I didn't ask for any of that. I have faith." See, and where I'm at right now, my focus, I don't know who's noticed what. My focus was and will always be on my son. However, I actually think maybe God is taking me a different direction. Maybe the time for my family is not yet. It'll be in the future, but there's justice available. See, I'm served these papers, right? Oh, dear. Look at that. All that paperwork. The backstory on the paperwork is this all resulted because people in my town stopped speaking to me. Now, I was actually, I know who I am. I know what I am saying. And for those who see me, how do you know if you are a prophet or not? I mean, my hometown has rejected me, and Christians certainly want to remind me of that. But aren't we all in this together? It says, "This is an important legal document to evict you. Your written response must be received by 5 o'clock on April 29th. All right, so I got a couple of weeks before they want a response. I'll be okay. See? Praise God. The facts of today are clear. I have shelter. I have comfort. I have health. I have an abundance. I have more than I could ask for. I am so blessed. Our God, the God of us, is so good. Please find that knowing within you. Our God is so good. Can you feel it? Can you feel good? Can you allow yourself to feel good? Because God gave you the will to choose. All of us. See, life happens. Life happens. It throws stuff at us. So here's another question, right? Hank, bless you, brother. And I'm not trying to be defiant. I'm really not. I am trying to find a way to negotiate, to communicate, but people have been so reluctant to speak with me. So what if that's a sign from God? Because this is what I'm trying to share. I'm sharing what I'm learning in my life. And if people don't want to talk to me, I know God is with me. I know God is with you. There's a spirit of God that's within all of us. Yet it seems the world literally does blind us to it. And the way the world blinds us to the goodness of the world, to the Spirit of God, the Christ that is within everything, Christ is the perfection of being. Jesus was the form of life offered to us to learn from. Our Father, our God, and the divine mother, the divine perfection that is beyond the gender, beyond the good and evil. That's where the truth stands. The truth stands. Does it stand above good or evil? Does it point to good or evil? I don't know. Here, let me go back to what I do know, the thought I was thinking earlier. Praise God. Hey, blessings and thank you. I don't want people to worry, sincerely. I want people to recognize that, time's ticking. Time is ticking. But let's recognize there is some incredible opportunities for success. I mean, I am ready to play this game of life, especially now that I know that God is with me. Because the truth is always there, and truth is what controls me. The facts, what is real. I can get all future tripping and start worrying about the future just like everybody else. It's real easy to do. I mean, hell, just gotten a served notice of eviction. How quickly can you allow yourself to reset, to realize, all right, new information has come forth. It's unsettling, it's unpleasant. It is. Doesn't have to ruin my day. I can continue with my praise. I can continue with my love of life. I can continue because God allows it. Matter of fact, you might say God wills it to continue. Otherwise, we would not be. But I do have faith and trust. There's something about today. Tax day. One of my best friends, one of my best friends in life, in this lifetime I've had. His name's Sean, and he's a CPA. So today for him in the past would have been like a day where he's been working nonstop 7 days a week for the past 3 months or so. He's been putting in his time, and then it seems to me like tonight they'd go celebrate. Right? God, that brings up different stuff. Like the CPAs celebrate the end of the tax season. The postal workers, man, they are glad when the Christmas season is done. These yeah. I don't intend to wait till the last minute. I don't. But at the same time, I have faith. I have faith that the future My goal for the future is to build and to become a greater part of community, not just here in my hometown. I mean, for the life of me, I don't know how to get attention of anyone in this town except the legal system and the whatever. I'm not testing God. God has been testing me. Don't you get it? Don't you get it? God has been testing me. Because rightfully, I can truthfully say since 2018, I went from making over 70,000 a year, steady income, very secure and comfortable, to 300 a month. I've been without answers and just up and down. Money comes and goes. It's whatever. I'm not testing God. God has tested me. I've lived this way without stealing, without, going to the food bank, without receiving aid or support from others. I have lived independently, honorably, honestly. And they want you to reply. I'm going to read through it and I'm going to evaluate later. Tarek, bless you. Thank you. Your contributions. I I know you I know you're not foolish. I don't mean to second guess you, but your generosity is it seems pretty abundant. So that's many. Maybe it's just my notice, but this life we're living, holy cows, this life we are living. Hey, I trust. This is what I want and I hope people will realize. The future of our world is going to be different than it is today, one way or another. There's plans in place that are going to drastically change the way that commerce and stuff is done here within the US and around the world. There's big changes coming already. They're in the plans. Some people know about them, some people don't know what I'm talking about, but I'd like to bring forth some ideas that I think would be helpful. I've been sharing them often and as well as I can possibly imagine myself doing so. No, that's not true. I can improve. Well, the solution is simple. Truth is all that matters. Simple as that. Truth is God. God is the truth. From the truth, then we may know love. But see, when we're caught in states of confusion, patterns of anxiety, we don't know. We're in patterns of thought. Okay, so to know is to be still. In the stillness, what I've experienced for myself, and this goes back to some of the suggestions I've offered earlier, the questions about allowing yourself to detach from the world, detach from the thoughts, detach from the feelings, detach from everything around you, and just go within into the nothingness, into the absence of your five senses. They still exist. You just train your mind not to give them attention. And then, and then you just, in the stillness and in the silence, without the mind chatter and without the arguments and without the, oh, I got to get this done and, oh, I can't do this for very long, and all the mind, the opinions, in the silence and the still and in the stillness, recognize, this is the goal, recognize within you your wholeness. You are whole You are complete when you allow yourself to be. And in your wholeness, in your completeness, in the stillness and silence of the moment of the present, you can settle in, surrender, allow yourself to be one with God. And recognize in the present, you are in the presence of God. There is no lying to God. God is within others. Don't lie to others. God is within yourself. Don't lie to yourself. There is no lying to God. What we as a people have lost sight of, or maybe didn't realize, it was kind of esoteric knowledge, I guess, some of the mystical, the occultish practices. They kept a lot of this knowledge away from the masses, but let's simplify it. The truth is simple. And once you accept the truth, you recognize the obviousness of the truth, and then you feel kind of foolish for not seeking the truth that could change your life much sooner. To simplify this, words are the power of God that God has bestowed upon you, the power of word, the gift of spoken word, that ability. When we speak words, what do words reveal? Words reveal truth and lies. Truth and lies come from our words. Who's responsible for our words? We are. We are responsible for the truth, for the words we offer, for the deeds we do, for the things, for the life that we create and we share. We individually, you are, I am, we all have an individual responsibility to the truth. And that responsibility to the truth can become a devotion, an honor, not a burden of the truth. Honor the truth, right? With respect and love and appreciation. Even the truth that comes from a different version of you. Every other person is just a different version of you. So be grateful for the truth that's offered and just pay attention. What is relevant to me and what is not relevant to me? That is our other option that we get to choose within ourselves. This world is vast. There's a lot of surface area to travel. Excuse me. There's a lot of surface area to travel. There is an infinite amount of information and perspectives and details that can be learned and absorbed in this world, in this experience of life. We can, what is this? I am practicing what I preach. What I am sharing with you, brothers and sisters, is what I found in myself. And why I'm sharing it is because the peace that I know, the love that I feel, I am so willing. I don't foresee it happening as much anymore, but should the facts reveal themselves and I'm compelled to leave, I will leave and I won't have regrets. I will be ever forward in time. I'm always looking forward to my future because what I've come to realize, the progression of life is for the good. The progression of life is to get better. We are here for improvement. That includes on the micro level within ourselves and the macro level in what we can influence. We're here to improve and to make this world better. Hey, I love you guys. Not for POTUS, but I do want to be an advisor, a mentor, some sort of oversight for the POTUS and the handlers of the POTUS and the other enablers of the POTUS. I, I, yeah, I'd like to be I'd like to be in a much closer relationship. Let me not go there. I'd like to be more involved in the direction that the American government is taking us. I would like that. I did a stream about that some time ago for those who may not have seen. I don't want a position, but I do want support. I'd like to find a way. Let's find a way. If you believe in me, believe in us, believe in the truth, believe in faith in God, that this is the way, a world without secrets. Simple and obvious. What's that thing, that theory, Arkham's razor? I believe, if I remember that accurately, you just take the simplest, most obvious path. Simplest, most obvious path. What is the problem of the world? Lies. Lies are the problem of the world. Lies. People are lying to themselves. People are lying to each other. Gleefully, joyfully, not even realizing that they're lying. See, I saw a quote somewhere recently. It's okay to have opinions without facts. Yet when you share those opinions as facts and you're wrong, you're spreading lies. And we don't want to serve the lies. We don't want to spread the lies. We don't want to corrupt ourselves with lies, with excuses, with blame. We want to stay whole. So what does it mean to be whole? Right? The topic, growing faith, recognizing faith. How do you know when you've got faith? You've got kind of confidence with you. You've got a strength within yourself and a peace that can only be found through comfort. That's what faith brings forth. Hey, here is a friend and a brilliant, brilliant mind. Another gift. Hey,
Hey, greetings.
greetings,
Hey,
brother.
give me 1 second, brother. I'm sorry.
As long as you need. No worries. Thank you. I appreciate you joining. Where was I going? Oh, the lies. The problem of the world. The most obvious solution is lies. We live in a world of lies. The bankers are lying, the media is lying, the politicians are lying, and the voters are lying. The voters are lying to themselves. Oh, this guy's going to save us. Oh, this one's not as bad as that one. No, lesser of two evils is still the support of evil. We must stop enabling and supporting and rewarding selfishness and evil. If we want our world to change, let's bring forth the goodness. And the goodness is known when we resolve the lies. It's time for disclosure. That's what I'm talking about. Not just disclosure, but a complete admission and clearing of the corruption that we have that's grown. What do you think, man?
Well, it's funny that you should start talking about lies because I think the machine lies. We're here talking about the lies of the machine on a machine that's lying to our very face. And that is kind of the whole thing with artifice. Where you're talking about words and language and how we come across to each other. And obviously there's a great pressure there, in terms of the fact that the world is ruled by signs and symbols, but then on the other end, the word is not the thing. So we have to remember that those signs and symbols are just representations for what is out there. All of nature is a sign and representation for something that points outside of nature, which is the divine, and when we look at words, obviously it's important to realize the tongue is the reflection of the heart, and the heart is the real thing, the heart is the real thing. It's not what's on the tip of the tongue, I just learned that word the other day. They say there's a French word called tip of the tongue that's kind of like deja vu. And it's like another expression of deja vu where it's like something's just on the tip of your tongue. You can't quite grasp it. But yeah.
No, it is. It is true. Hey, and this, I love where you took this. The words are symbols. Symbols and signs. Symbols and signs rule the world. But bring this in. We learn from each other. So the symbols and signs are true. The words themselves are true. But the way we explain it to each other is the lies. And yes, we're on machines that lie, talking about systems that lie. And we are bringing forth the truth, though, because this, what you said too, the words point at the thing, and the thing out there, the real thing is the truth. And the truth can be honored, can be accepted, can be appreciated, even when it comes in pretty ugly.
Yeah, I think that machines, although they are not, willful in the way they and frame certain processes, I do think that machines impart on humans, a certain level of dissimulation, that is practiced because they deliver us a result while hiding how they got to that end. So human beings, that are in a technological world, they learn to practice dissimulation, in a certain way. Like, for example, when you're online, people let the anonymity speak for them in a certain way. Even though it's not really saying anything, you know what I mean, right? It's just a type of barrier that you have between communicating that you acknowledge, so it's like we're filtering ourselves out, and we have to figure out that whether what we're doing is actually filtering or fillering, right? Because there's a lot of non-filtering and a lot of fillering going on as well. A lot of this stuff is filler. It's extra, right?
I'm not sure if this is where you were at, but what you were describing is within ourselves, right? We get so caught up in the mind, in the chatter, in the labels and the signs and symbols we've imagined, and we lose sight. And it goes back to that when we lose sight, we start lacking wonder. We think we know the answers, and then our ego takes, we get arrogant and insulting, and it's the way we're designed is so incredible. For most of my life, I actually resented my body. I was overweight, couldn't control it, couldn't dance, couldn't play sports, wasn't really good at moving. So I didn't like living. I've had time alone practicing massage, stretch, yoga, meditation, breathing, prayers. These bodies, man. Here's what I believe. When we seek to unite with the divine mind, we move ourselves more into the angelic energies. And these bodies, man, I think these are angel suits. They're here to reward us with pleasure as we do good. Following the way of love rewards us within. The paradox of my life is, well, the external world is what it is, right? But I feel divine. And I think that's what we're here for, to be honest. And if this is true, dude, if this is true, I don't mean to disrespect. If this is true, We are part of something major that's happening, because the solution is man can purify itself by aligning itself to the truth on the individual level and on the macro level. And so if we have a disclosure from the demons of our governments and our corporations, if we can have an awakening to the minds of those employees who are possessed by the demons of our governments and our corporations, if they simply, well, a disclosure would mean a confession. The churches have known the value of confession, but it's been used in the wrong way. A confession and an admission will allow these government officials, these employees of these contractors and these agencies, if they offer an admission, it'll bring forth an opportunity of repentance. And imagine if these corporations that have been destroying the wildlife and the nature of the world, these oil companies and their drillings and the minings, and imagine if people change. The world will be drastically different, man. Do you believe these changes are possible or not?
I personally believe that they are inevitable, because in the current stage of things, how, there's a crisis of loneliness and empathy, it simply cannot sustain itself, So I think that once people are in a stage of foggy, somatic detachment, then what cries out to them is this necessary thing, that's this mind body dualism, and that starts to cave people in. We're all trapped in a sort of, I like to call it, an escapism, where there's a event to exit ratio, I mean, that has been magnified, so we're all dealing with that sort of acceleration, in which we can all, we're all FOMO, as they say, fear of missing out, they say we all have that at an increasing degree, but we also have a bystander effect to an increasing degree. And that's what's causing our numbness, is because we seem to think that we can pass the buck, as it will, in terms of morally speaking, because there's more interconnectedness, but that doesn't seem to always translate, because the same way we're feeling numb and alienated, so is everybody else, and they're choosing to make the same choice, so what seems to be a choice is really ends up being the illusion of choice, and what we need to do is free ourselves. We need to be reprogrammed. In other words, we need to reprogram ourselves. But the only way to realize the, to get outside of the programming is to realize you've been programmed first,
Well, amen. And I love what you said, because it's time to reprogram ourselves. That's what I was trying to get across too, with the idea of resetting. Allow yourself just to stop what you're doing, stop your arguments, stop your fights, just stop and reevaluate. Is this the best course of action? Is your life heading in the direction that you want? Because the world wants us to conform. And what does that mean? It means that the masses have become enablers. Not only enablers, but everyone's policing each other, making sure that different ideas don't get heard, right? It's been happening throughout time. The ignorant have been murdering and brutalizing the brilliant. I don't know. Hey, we've got another guest. I believe there's peace here. No issues. Welcome, Hank. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well.
Hey, I saw Snafu make an appearance on Paul's stream very briefly, so he's alive. He didn't He didn't offer any information.
Interesting.
Hey, yes, Salty Siren, let's try to be accurate with our words and memories. I did tell Rant to censor his words. Do you remember why? Do you remember my explanation? I tried to help Rant understand that each of us have a responsibility of censoring the words that we offer, because those words that come from us either offer truth or lies. And what Rant was offering was a bunch of imagined false narratives. He was presenting as a false witness. I could call him a liar, but I know he's just confused.
Yeah. So the machine lies is friends with Rant, but Rant made it to my ultra confused list. So pretty much, I'm just gonna just sit and watch him till he either challenges me or finds out some other way. Because there's really little else I can do because he's so deluded.
Yeah, but one thing I know about Hank and Brother Talcott and about the Brother Rant is that they are excellent friends to me. So I appreciate their presence in my life for sure. Anytime I have a strange query, is one of the three people I go to, really. But yeah, bless you guys.
Hey, and I was short and maybe even insulting with Rant, but I'm sick of his nonsense. He seems like a real decent guy. He's got a great sense of humor. He's very sharp, very quick-witted, and he's very intelligent. However, I know my path, and I know he has no place in my life where there is not a situation in where I can imagine he has a righteous place to disrespect me and insult me publicly. He has no relationship with me, and well, his gossiping and his false narratives are his problem, and I was just trying to point it out to him earlier.
Yes, but I'll invite him to insult me and gossip about me publicly, but we both know where it ends, so you might as well hit the gas pedal again, because you'll lose more than your channel next time.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think Sterling Gray hit the nail on the head though. Rant is playing a different game. Kind
a
of
dangerous game.
a dangerous game.
No, I do like Rant. Here's the frustration though. I mean, it's already challenging enough to communicate with that Paul Unslaved character, right? And so I thought we were having relatively decent conversations when this guy comes in and just shifts the energy, and then Paul starts supporting his nonsense against me, and then it's just I could get out 2 words and I'd get interrupted. And then I got to listen to a long bullshit session about their opinions of me, and it's insulting. So
Yeah.
Well, I think the brother Paul Enslaved has a successful platform. I think he went to I think it was prison or something like that, and then he read a lot of psychology books. And also his dad is a successful psychologist. So I think he tries to transform the self-help advice that he recognizes into a type of jeering and sort of insult comedy type of routine. So I actually like his style, but I think many people sort of confuse his style for a bad intent towards them. So
Yeah.
so it gets a lot of people into their kind of defensive mode.
Yeah.
But I see that he actually does that daily. So it's actually just his own way of being. So I actually appreciate I think he's funny, a lot of times. So
Yeah,
bless him.
I actually agree, but it's just he just has a small problem. If he has a deep insecurity, so if you just demonstrate that he doesn't have control like he hopes to have, then he just wants to shoot you away. So that's what I've done. I showed him that he cannot gain control of me unless he makes a deal with me, and he doesn't like that. because I've been under so much social pressure by society that it takes more than he has to break me.
You've been a good test for him, as have I. So, and I agree. He's got a gift. He's got an abundance of knowledge and information within him, and he's got a real gift of words.
Like I'm more kind of a little bit not very helpful in terms of self-help advice, but I do read comparable materials in terms of philosophy and other types of things. But the Dr. Wayne Dyer type of stuff, I know, like my grandpa was really into that stuff. So, I do have a lot of like Wayne Dyer books. I just haven't really looked into the other stuff. But yeah, I do understand the value of that type of learning,
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of the self-help advice contradicts each other, so it's a wash. So you're better off just going for philosophy. Well, some of the philosophy contradicts each other too.
Right.
There's just the critical line of stuff that just happens to not contradict each other. That's the stuff I care about. Like if you read the 48 Laws of Power, there's only 8 laws in there with no reversals. Those are the only laws that count for me. That's the only takeaways I would take out of the book. The other stuff is fluff that make the book bigger.
Sorry, the chat has me humorous. So this is something. Allow your mind to expand just a little bit into the fairy tale-ish ideas, right? So what if God is using me as a messenger for today? I mean, Jesus was a messenger. He served a lot of purposes, and my role I've chosen for myself is to point people to his way that I'm trying to follow for myself. So there's a lot of people who want to judge me because I haven't succeeded yet on my own. And so apply that to God. How many people today are just waiting for God to come down and solve all their problems, right? God's going to fix the world. God's going to do it. We don't have to do anything. We just got to go to our job. We got to pay our taxes, pay our bills, maybe support the entertainment and the NFL and the sports and the entertainment. Jeeps. The onus is on each of us to learn what God is revealing to us each day. Ideally, the onus is on each of us to try and understand each other. Now, I've been doing my best to communicate clearly that the way of love leads us to the truth. Love the truth, and you can know God. And as you know God, you know love. So, hey, Jeeps, how can I simplify this more so that the onus is not on me as much as everyone fighting to keep believing in their false narratives, such as yourself, Jeeps?
Here's just one issue. Communication's a 2-player game. So
Yeah.
you both have to agree on the protocol, then you can send an encoded message. So both parties has to work at communication. But if you realize that the party doesn't care, then you're just wasting energy.
Okay, but in response to this comment, yeah, if the people who everyone believing in their false narratives, if they don't care, then it really isn't the onus on me. I mean, I can communicate as clearly as I can, but that's the beauty of the truth. Actually, this is what I've been learning, guys. We get in all these feelers when we have our breakdowns in communication with each other. The truth is, if people aren't willing to accept the truth, if people aren't willing to consider the truth that's offered, there's not much any of us can do, right? God is the truth. And if people don't want God, if people don't want the truth in their life, they can stay in denial. God gives us the free will. And this world, because people have stayed in denial, this world has more billionaires and more poverty than any other time in history. Oh, yeah, there's probably lots and lots of wars, maybe even more wars than any other time in history, but I don't know that for sure.
Yeah.
This is the time.
Yeah. So pretty much if we don't have credibility with each other, we just have to wait to the final settlement process. There's really nothing else we can do.
Margot, I know you want everyone to believe that I have nothing special. I know you want others to believe all sorts of things you've said about me. You believe we all have our truths. Do you think that's right? We should all have our own truths? Guys, panel, you think that's healthy for communication?
So
No.
I kind of
Well,
don't care. You go
Well,
first.
I personally believe there can only be one truth. But yeah, go ahead, Hank. What are you gonna say?
Oh, yeah. I was just gonna use my catchphrase. Truth is just a feeling, because I don't want to debate about which truth is the right truth. I want to focus on facts. I want to focus on the interpersonal, all the stuff we can agree on now. I want to point to all of that. Once we agree on the facts, we will go ahead and communicate our intention. Then we can work to can negotiate for one intention or another intention. It's called what's it called? What was it called? Hypothetical imperative. The count hypothetical imperative. That's what I'm trying to describe. Your turn.
Well, sorry, I kind of got off here. This comment, God hasn't been proven to exist. Huh. And I'm curious if you believe that based on facts or your thoughts. And where do you think your thoughts came from? Did they come from facts or did they come from God? Figure out where your thoughts come from, you'll get a better idea of who you are. Figure out what your thoughts actually are. You can find the truth that you know. And Margot, see, you are presenting again as a false witness. You don't take the time to accurately choose your words, Margot. I want everyone to accept God's truth. The objective truth is what I'm pointing at. Now, Margot, you've been in my experience and demonstrated you're literally out of your mind from confusion. And I don't know how to communicate with you because you don't want to know beyond what you think. It's amazing. And you know what? I don't mean to turn this over to Margot here. Margot, feel free to leave. You're done, at least for a while. I don't want your distractions. So, this is one of many, many, many factors, right? The perfection in the order of geometry, of the patterns of life and nature that are so there. And luckily people in our past have taken the time to really look at nature and to identify these patterns and point them out for us, right? So we could see the Fibonacci sequence. We could discover the beauty of geometry and math. The studies of this alchemical experience. We are living in this realm that is far, far more than what we've allowed ourselves to believe. And it's because of fear. fear of suffering, bringing it back to what Machine Lies was talking about earlier. So I think is what he was saying. The potential for analysis paralysis. We can get lost in learning, in planning, in thinking, and not actually do much. But we learn most by doing. And that's what we've forgotten. This world, the society, it's been so punishing. Children and people have been punished for good intentions. They think they're doing good. They just do something the wrong way. And then they get punished and shamed and filled with.
No, that does happen, man. That does for sure. Yeah. Sometimes people just don't know better. I found.
Well, hey, thank you. Thank you for that reminder, actually, Browns boy, because that's a reminder I keep offering myself is every one of us is moving and acting at the level of consciousness that God has allowed us. Okay? So that's where the grace I've been consciously, and I've shared this before. The past year on this YouTube has offered me many opportunities to grow in my practice of patience and grace. And that reminder that everyone is a spiritual being formed by God. Every one of us is limited by our awareness, what we've learned, what we're feeling. And all of that is the unseen. That's all the spirit. So we can get off blaming the physical, right? Because each of us, the body's a symbol, the symbol of who we are. We want to be honest about the symbols. We want to be honest about the meanings. And for me, honesty is the truth. Comes back to the truth. The truth is the only thing that matters. And so what keeps us confused, what has the world confused, is people think they know.
Yeah, man, I would agree with that. Yeah. Like I know somebody who has a learning disability, and you can literally tell them every single day like the simplest thing, like, hey, make sure your health plan today is breath and awareness, flexibility in your spine, and comprehension, and make your mind up. And you could write it on a board for them, and they won't remember it. Yeah.
Well, I've also heard it said that, at some point our spirits, our eternal soul or spirit may have had a choice in volunteering or whatever. We were returned here. The idea is we are spiritual beings. There's a higher self that's guiding each one of us. Some of us have volunteered, allegedly. Allegedly, some of us have volunteered for the role of suffering. Why? Because we know it'll strengthen those around us. We know that things will be learned. And we know that we can grow through pain. Pain brings experience. Pain brings wisdom. This should be a pretty brilliant friggin' world by the time all this pain and suffering's done, don't you think? Enough pain and suffering should bring a lot of wisdom. And hey, this is the realm of refinement. We're placed in the fire. This is the test. We are being tested each day. How are we doing? Are we enjoying the journey? Are we holding on to the past? Are we holding on to our confusion and our helplessness?
Yeah, the journey for me has been pretty mediocre. what I was doing right before this was I was in like my biweekly book club, but it was kind of going nowhere. I guess the questions didn't get written this week, and the chapters were boring. I literally just left out before I was saying goodbye to come here because it was more interesting.
Kind of missed a little bit of that, Hank, to be honest.
I left the book club that I was always scheduled for in mid meeting because it was boring me today.
Okay. Well, hey, Hank, how did that feel? I assume it felt good.
Yes.
Good for you. Honor that. And I honor you for doing that. This is what I've been doing with my own life, creating it into more of an adventure, doing more of what I want. If I go somewhere because it seems like a good idea and then it just, putters out, what else can I be doing? And then I get that mind wondering, where else can I go? What else can I be? Good for you, Hank, because the journey, it's real easy to lose sight. We've got these moments where we can start picking up joy. We can find peace, share beauty, share laughter. If we can find ways and reasons to do that more and more and more, there you go. There's the life of your adventure. I wanted to come back to this because I don't want this to be sent the wrong way, Sterling. I'm not suggesting ignore the suffering of others to enjoy this experience, not at all. I'm saying expand your awareness, know what is in the world, know that what is real in the world and in your world, and figure out what is relevant in your experience at this time. I'm not ignoring the suffering of others, but I try not to let it consume me, right? Because we're all on our own paths. I'm the only one who's going to look out for me, so I got to look out for me. But I enjoy this experience more now today because I believe that we can find a way to help end the suffering of others. I truly believe that we can. And I look for ways in my own life, in my own day-to-day experience. How can I help relieve the suffering of myself, of others? It's really kind of simple doing it that way.
I heard the Machine Lies one time. I heard him say that like a good idea is when you would feed the homeless to have a place that they could get food. My dad actually did that before, which makes me kind of feel a little bit bad for the people who had to eat the food that he cooked. But I'm pretty sure the spirit was still there. But that kind of thing's like legitimate, dude. Like they don't want people helping people on a networked scale for some reason. But it can be done. It can be done for sure.
There's real life. There are real practical solutions. We can move beyond this wage slavery system where people don't transact unless there's profits involved. We can create new ways when the truth is known. And this is what I see for the future. I don't know how it's all going to work out, but I know that if people start honoring what is true, the wars end, the bankers' lies disappear, this bullshit of authority, this positional immunity that these, whatever they call it, the immunity that these people carry because of their position. No, this is not right. And yes, in the past, there's been a lot of people there's currently a lot of people sacrificing their time, energy, and resources to create spaces, to offer a place where children can go get some support. Moms and dads might be able to get some handouts, but it's a band-aid on a problem. There's bankers who are deflating the value of the currency. At the same, it's just a sham. It's a scam. It's a Ponzi game. When we care about the truth and overcome the excuses and blame, we're going to, all right. I can't leave him in the back. Welcome,
Oh,
Tommy.
you can and you do. But Jack, when you tell us day after day we're not listening, we don't get what you're saying, you've said this rap before, and I'm saying yes, there are details to this monetary economic system that are shafting us, but compared to how you and your daddy describe it, you guys just should have done more with yourselves. Because even a jackass like me can get Tesla at $50, selling it over $1,000. There wasn't no scam to it. I've got a degree to work project manager jobs where I'm not a slave for slave wages. And any back of the gym smokers that got a problem with how they turned out, they were probably warned by every guidance counselor and teacher that they went across the desk of. Even Hank's autistic ass is in some kind of logistics career. And I know he's like idiot savant in that shit.
Yeah. I'm not sure what your point was, Tom.
That you're just up here on that. Whenever we say, Jack, you're not doing a thing, it's not that we haven't heard you out, not that we don't understand, or that we're misinterpreting you. I'll do the same thing to your dad.
Yeah, I want to dispute the idiot savant thing. I shouldn't be considered an idiot savant just because
No, you're autistic.
I remember how to use the damn word processor we were taught in school.
No, Hank, it's like any of us can count
people are lazy.
Toothpicks.
People are stupid.
Some of you guys can count them before they hit the floor. Like they're just passing through the air boxless and they haven't hit the floor. And some of you aughts are like, there's 356 toothpicks on the floor. 356.
Yeah, what I can do.
It's impressive, dude.
What I can do logistically is nothing special, and I don't get compensated like it's special because it's not special. It's just I refuse.
Oh no, you don't get compensated. I mean, but yeah, if you're good at something,
other people do because I don't have room to go. Other people can get bailed out, so they'll whine and complain and quit sooner than I will.
We appear to be off on a tangent, Hank, but I'm just saying if you can, it's much easier to be a boxer when you're good at it than to be a boxer when you suck at it. So whether you get paid more or not, at least it's just leisurely easy to do a thing.
Well, no, it's really not leisurely easy. It's just I can.
Well, then you're just probably
I can take this torture. On Saturday, I think.
Hank, can we get back to Jack?
Let me finish.
Okay.
Don't overtalk me. On Saturday, I was suffering from food poisoning, and that was my split shift day. But I went ahead and did it, even though their management didn't communicate that they were just gonna run all the dang Monday fills today, that day, because they just what
you gotta watch Walker. Yeah.
So I just suffered through it because
you're used to being on these panels. You suffer through all kinds of things.
Yeah. The panel thing's just the latest thing. I suffered through all kinds of things, and so this is just another thing on the list.
Oh, you got Jack popping his neck. Or you get it out? Did you get it out, Hank? We good? We'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it later. Let's get back to Jack. He wants to tell us that he wants to tell us that if you become a billionaire, it can only be from being shitty.
Well, perhaps he's correct.
No, you can be a good person and be a billionaire.
No, perhaps he's correct. Should I be shitty so I can help Jack more? I don't know. What do you think, Tommy?
The viewers are tuned in. I love you guys.
I like how he didn't make the word feeling complete.
Huh? No.
The word feeling was incomplete. I don't think he meant to do that, but it worked.
Well, here's the thing, Tom. I'm really trying to understand what people believe they are achieving by constantly telling me I'm wrong.
Then we can achieve either you learning what's correct or we can achieve, you find out you're not achieving anything and you can move on to something you can achieve.
Uh-huh. And there's another option you overlooked.
To play your game, say you're a girl because you say you're a girl, and then we all play make-believe with you.
No. You listen and make sure you understand what you're rejecting.
That's what
And
I've
then we
done
figure
every
it out.
time, and you say we don't listen and understand.
And I'm saying that because of what you're asking and what you've been doing. I'm telling you that.
No,
You
Jack, the
clearly
only
don't
time you
understand.
start getting things right is when you've watched other channels and we start hearing our words and yours, then you're getting it right. But anything I ever
No,
correct you
no.
on, whenever you try and make it out to be just trolling and fucking with Jack, it's like, Jack, I don't know why some of these people don't correct you. They
Hey,
it's like
Tom,
they're toxic parents
Tom,
that just let
Tom,
their kids say, yeah, you're
Tom,
the prettiest little girl of the bell. She's just shoving
Tom,
ice cream down her throat.
Tom. It's not helpful.
Okay, explain to me how I'm wrong when I tell you you're wrong. Okay, let's
Well,
start with the billionaire thing from the other day.
how about
Why are
how
billionaires
about
automatically bad?
right?
Why billionaire
Argue,
bad?
you want to argue over opinions. Let's
No,
argue.
I'm asking you why you frame billionaires as bad people.
Well, they're not bad people. The system is corrupted. People who comply and do well succeed within the system. They legally become billionaires. I'm saying the legal system rewards selfishness. Selfishness creates
You're pretty
billionaires.
selfish, dude.
Actually, I'm not. And
Do you
you
think you're
don't have
not selfish because you don't feel rewarded?
Tom, do you have any facts that would support your accusation that I'm selfish?
Yeah. I got a lot of upholstery in that direction, but I'm still on this how are billionaires bad thing.
I didn't say they're bad. See, you're not listening to my answers.
Okay, the corrupt
Looping back.
system is not corrupt because you must eat children to be successful. It just siphons money away from you. And if
From the
you're a
poor.
responsible individual, you can minimize that.
That's not true, Tom. And look, I
I
don't want to
do it all
argue.
the time.
I'm not going to sit here and argue economics, Tom. We've been through this enough, and your mind is not open. You're here with your convictions. I can see it in the patterns of your tone, your questions, your statements. You're here with convictions and condemnation. Listen to your words, Tommy. I'm not wrong. And this
That's you.
conviction, Tom.
Jack, I'm just talking about the subject, and you've already backstaged me once. It's
All
because
right.
you're what I say
Well,
you are.
I know
Because I
I
calls
shouldn't
them
have,
like I sees them.
Tom. I shouldn't have brought you back up. Okay.
My sentiments exactly.
All right. I love you, my friend. We'll
I don't
talk
like
again
you.
later. I'm gonna kick you. Okay. Wait. Well, no, thank you. I didn't. He didn't kick me yesterday. He just put me in the back and I chose to leave. So
Yeah,
Oh,
here's the
please.
thing. We can have condemners, but when I said okay, accept condemnation, they don't have any. They usually just don't have any solutions to just go ahead and hit the condemnation again. After the first time, you kind of just don't feel it anymore. So if we don't have solutions for us, we don't care. It just you run out of steam.
Welcome, Scott. There's a lot of people want to offer condemnations and criticisms, but how often do you see actual solutions being offered? People saying, "Hey, Jack, if you adjust this way, if you try this way, this might be a different result." People don't think their thoughts through. They think thoughts, cling to their thoughts, and want to impose and expect me to defend myself against their thoughts. It's not how the truth works. I stand with the truth of who I am. You can either accept me or leave me. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think
Scotty,
the noise was Scott. I muted you up, Scott, because getting some noise coming through there.
So I might offer this, that I think that there is only truth, and then yeah, I don't know. I think there is only truth, man. And then there's like, what do you know, like, because it was here before you, us. It's here now, and when we're gone, it'll still be here. So it's like, it's only up to us to a certain degree. Like, we don't put the sun in the sky. Like, you could say it's God, you could say it's science, uh, but no matter what you think, there's only truth.
Right. That's the mystery of this game. It's very subtle. The game of life is actually very powerful and very subtle, just like the truth, just like love, just like God, maybe. I don't know. God is amazing. I give credit to God for the creation. The science is just man's way of explaining God's order that by God's grace, man has discovered. By God's grace, we discover the patterns of this life. We are able to discern what is true. And there is a truth, okay? There is a unique truth for each of us, but what that truth applies to is our own unique purpose. There's a purpose. We've lived the lives that we have. It's greater than what we may realize. If we think we know, if we think that the world is all these different ways, the world is evil, the world is misery, the world is dangerous, the world is hopeless, the world is toxic. If you want to believe all those things, guess what? That's what you're going to live with. Doesn't mean it's true. And partial truths, right? Truths taken out of context or partially examined, that's where confusion sets in. And the point is, life is very subtle. It's built on moments and moments and layers of details. It's real easy to get confused by the details, to get lost and hypnotized by the motion of life.
I heard it's like stacked dreams, but I haven't really figured that out yet. Like, it's like dreams stacked on top of dreams,
Yes,
stacked on top of dreams.
the all is mental. It's one of the first principles from the Hermetic ideas. The all is mental. It is all mental imagery becoming manifesting, and it's an emergence into our consciousness. Every moment is a manifestation within our minds and within our beings, and every one of us, we are multi-dimensional. We are not, and this is so simply explained. If you can accept the truth as true, there are multi-dimensions to our being. The most obvious are the simple three. Physical. We are physical and biological in nature. There is a physical body that possesses us. We are contained within this physical body. Beyond the physical body is the essence, the spirit. Our personality is found through our mind, our mental body, and our emotional body. The mental body and the emotional body work with the physical body for our presence. And when we interact with each other, it's actually at the spirit level, at the emotional and mental level, that most of the interactions occur. But we're in the physical plane. So the physical plane shows us what is real.
Well, and like something we could do about that is, like, you know how like Hitler had like Hitler's Youth and all that? Like it's because they know that they have to like get the kids, dude. Because they know the kids don't understand the emotional and physical part yet. So if they can kind of like program them slash condition them to respond, to have certain responses to certain stimuli, then like they get all the soldiers. Like, dude, that's why education is the way that it is. It's set up that way. That's why breaking up the nuclear family, and that's why like other cultures and stuff experience problems with male and female, raising children.
Well, there's been wisdom from long, long ago. What was the old saying? Give me a boy the first 7 years and I'll return you the man, or something like that. It's been known the first early years of
Yeah, it's
development are where
it's
we're please.
I think it's from the Jesuits. They had this like
Yeah. Well, and I'd heard it actually originally credited to some of the Buddhic traditions in
Oh, okay, yeah.
raising the youth too. So it is true though. The first 7 years are where we are developed, and what Adam was saying regarding the schools is true. Unfortunately, the school systems that we went through and that we're still paying for, they're not what's best for our youth. It's not good to teach obedience to living beings who are intended, we are intended to be leaders, all of us. The schools teach obedience, conformity, fear,
I have a
judgment.
feeling that this has been happening for at least hundreds of years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yes.
like it's like I recognize that it's happening now. I recognize that it has been happening. I kind of recognize why, and maybe some of the reasons that that
Well,
everything's happening the way that it
Well,
is. So
it's
but
interesting because who educates in a society for I guess in a society that's democratic, the people who hold the power, because there are people who wield power in such a society. It's just they're the people who educate for those democratic or civic principles. So the people who control the education system are all powerful within a democratic society. And this revelation is one of the first statements in the book Propaganda by Edward Bernays. So he kind of outlined this. But if you can be told what to think and hear, you could be told what to do and say. And that's really how it functions. The more we understand that, we have to think, correct our thoughts in order to act, that will actually function as a barrier to actually acting, because, it's actions that usually control thoughts. It's not thoughts that usually build up into an action. Thoughts just build up into more abstraction. So thoughts can get as complex as you want them to be, but it's actual activities, like I said to Jack one day, life is activity, not production. I think it was attributed to Aristotle, but I may not know, but it goes to a line from the Gita, that we are entitled to our actions and not the fruit of them. That we control what happens. We don't control what happens because of what we do,
Right.
but we push things into, motion, and then we don't decide where it goes. Everything happens from a push and not a pull. I think those who are pulled are trying to react, while those who push are responding. A response is necessary, not a reaction. A reaction is always secondary. And that is how we often function in a state of dualism and detachment, foggy detachment from our environment. It's because we're being put into an ineffectual state by having you know things mediated to us. You know, mediation is not the level of action. You know, it's it's the level of how actions are translated into ideas and then turned into abstractions, and then people don't remember how you got there in the first place. You know, what actions led to the idea. Once you have idealism, you also have forgetting. And that's the problem. You know what I mean? Idealism doesn't take history into account. And neither does science. But history is important.
Woo! That was some good stuff, man. Thank you. A lot to like.
Blessings.
If I really want to go back and understand everything you just said, like I have to really like. That will take me a little bit. I appreciate that.
Blessings.
I recommend it in my own stream because I know how I talk, and actually I've done it with Machine Lies too. Get a pen and paper, take some notes, consider some of these ideas later, because I kind of lost where you were going with that, to be honest. I'm going to have to go back and look again. Well, you brought up a lot of things, and there was something that you said that I wanted to come back to. I lost it though. These lives are short. This is what I've realized, not to change it. Smile while you still have teeth. Smile while you can. Feels good to smile. I knew that fact before, but I didn't understand how true it was. We have a lot of power over our body, our mind, our spirit. We actually have the power, well, by God's grace, as we grow in our awareness and practice of self-control, that's where it happens. And that's what we're here to do, is to learn self-control. But this education system, teaching conformity and such, it wants external control, because external control convinces people, well, here's where we're at. We have a voluntary slave system where people voluntarily enlist to go to wars. People voluntarily take subpar wages. People voluntarily pay their taxes. There's no one to blame for the corruption of this world except everyone in it, right? And that's all of us. I do believe we are at a time. See, these ideas are becoming more known. Our thoughts and actions create our vibrational field. The vibrational field is the experience that we share. These ideas from the past, the eternal truth that has been misunderstood, misinterpreted, or kept away from the masses, it's becoming more known. And as the wisdom is shared and more people start receiving the wisdom that they did not know, they're going to feel more empowered. They're going to feel stronger. And with the strength of wisdom, we find peace within us. And with that confidence and that peace, it's real easy to find appreciation and gratitude. And that's where the love is, baby. Love comes from appreciation and gratitude. I believe we're here to change this world, and it's happening. We're a part of it. My hope is to somehow, if it's not on this screen, it's to be in Washington, D.C. And I want to be a part of, the way I see it, there's a lot of us. There's a lot of us in America, and then America is just part of the world. But seeing the views of the world from the American perspective, the American government is funding, picking sides, funding wars, perpetuating violence throughout the world by choice. So I suggest, if the people in our American government can't figure out how to bring peace, negotiate peace, use diplomacy for peace, if they can't figure it out, they should get the hell out of our way.
Where's the American government?
I think it's in the corporations.
From the
There is
context of
no.
the conversation, do you not understand who I'm talking about? From the
Well,
context of the
I think we the
conversation, or
people
did
are
it
the
inspire a-
Americans. Hold
Yeah.
on. We
Mhm.
the people are the Americans, and the people running the government are the United States citizens. And
Okay.
we're
Corporations are
getting
also sorry.
well, the corporations are citizens as well, correct? All right, we
Please
have a
continue.
corporatocracy, so
Yep.
we're conflating
Mhm.
the two as one, and it's not the same. So what
Okay.
happens is
Mhm.
if we're not filling our seat of government through the state assemblies, then
Mhm.
we're not represented.
Okay.
And they're turning their backs on us. If you want to go to Washington, that's a
Mhm.
foreign land. It's a foreign territory. And that's
Okay.
what they're saying that we're all a part
Mhm.
of, but we're not.
Right.
The
Okay.
separation between us is
Mhm.
that we're not in Washington.
Okay.
I,
Thank you for those details,
let's
Scott.
fix things without knowing what the fuck we're talking about is the point,
Okay,
you know.
so right, that's your point. So let's come back to the conversation where I was at. Since you're wanting to
Jack's
get,
reality. There we go.
well, Scott, the conversation, the reality we're sharing is this conversation. You can get out, drop your arrogance. Okay, we can chill out. So in the I am trying to get you to wake up though, Scott, and realize what is actually happening right here and now in this life, right here and now. So you wanted to negate what I was just talking about, to bring up these divisions of the corporate and the state and the American versus the citizen. So now, Scott, you negated me. So what's your solution?
Knowing there's a problem isn't the cure, but knowing there's a problem, actually knowing what the problem is fundamental to developing a cure.
Those are
So
thoughts.
I
What are your facts? Where's the relevance? Where is
well,
the
let me
relevance?
ask you, let me ask you something. Are you aware that everybody walks around saying the United States citizens, and that's where
Hey,
they're giving
Scott.
up their?
Mm-hmm. I know.
Well, I mean, you want to
We've
fix the
moved.
problems.
Hey,
I
We've got to
believe
Scott. All
understand.
right,
I
Scott.
believe I can lighten this up just a small bit. Like what is it that they say vampires are like scared of or like they go away from? Isn't it like garlic or something?
Garlic is one, yes.
Oh, okay, because like I was just thinking
Silver
like
bullets.
you know how they spray the skies with like metal and stuff to like have like anyway to do their thing.
Barium, aluminum, all kinds
What
of
are
shit.
What
you?
if we just started spraying the Capitol with like garlic? That would be one test that would if they all left, then like I'd be right in my hypothesis. It's like what I'm trying to say is it's hard to find like
What are you
those
doing?
people are allegiant because they went to
Bring in
certain
a little
schools.
levity, maybe. Jack, can I give you one more thought? And I'm trying to
Why?
clarify it in my head.
Do you think
To
it's going
help.
to help?
That's the point.
Please.
I think the problem is that we're not together, and I mean on a grand scale. People
Right.
are not
You're not
together.
here in the
Hold
present.
on,
You're also in the
am I going to be able to finish, or do I have to talk over you, or just listen to you?
You can leave too if you don't like it. Matter of fact, let me help you. God bless. Thank you for leaving.
What's up, Jack? Good to see you, bro.
Welcome.
The
Welcome.
Machine Lies, Adam. Hope you're all doing well this evening.
What's up, Jason? How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Nice.
Work's getting a little slower now, so it's it's easier. Loving it.
What were we talking about? That wasn't it like I know we were talking about
Well,
change or
yeah, actually,
making
Adam,
solutions or something.
I was kind of asking you too. What are you doing? I mean,
Who, me?
I'm focused. I know what I'm talking about. I'm not confused. I had Scott interrupt to take us completely off track, and then I got you, Adam, talking
Oh.
about dropping garlic on the fucking White House. What are you doing, dude?
Yeah, I did hear some that confused the fuck out of me too.
I was I'm not good at making jokes because I saw that you were getting a little like Scott and you were having a little bit of a not seeing the same thing. So I thought if I made a joke, it would kind of
Okay.
alleviate it.
Alleviate it.
It was an intentional distraction. I appreciate the intention. I would have preferred some support trying to get the conversation back to what I was trying to talk about instead of sitting here listening to fucking Scott's mind again. I am so tired of listening to opinions that are not informed. Opinions that are just thought of, strangers who stay away from me, don't actually communicate properly with me. Scott will say that he's tried talking to me, and he has. Just like he does here on the panel, he talks and talks and talks about whatever pops into his head. And when you ask him for relevance, well, it's lacking.
Yeah.
There's a sign for you. If you can't find relevance, you might be lacking relevance in the moment. I brought him up. Sorry to continue, but I brought him up because
You're good.
I do like Scott, and I keep hoping every day God's going to open minds. Eventually, minds will open and people will understand. Sorry, Adam, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I don't think it was that important though. It's because I can't remember what it was.
That's what's up. Oh, cheers, everyone. Hope you
It
guys
was an offering of peace of some sort I was thinking of, but
Well, here,
everything.
let me see if someone else can explain what I've been saying. Okay? Can anyone else comprehend or imagine the benefits of ending secrets and lies in the governments and corporations? Can anyone imagine those results and be able to explain it for themselves?
I can a little bit, not perfectly, but my first thought is like basically there would be no government because
We could have
I mean, if you're talking about like residents and citizens, and these people all have lives already,
third world country.
and like half of them are coming from somewhere else, which is the other place that's creating them. And like the education bernays and the propagation of cooperational efforts are. I don't know where I was going with that, dude. I forgot.
I figured you were gonna lose that one right quick.
Well, I think it's rather simple if you look at it one way. You look at the connection between honor and shame. You say that we hide things from each other because we're ashamed, and we do that on a greater level because we're afforded by like anonymity. Like, why is somebody hiding behind a screen name and a keyboard? It displays something.
See,
that like you wouldn't really behave that way. That anonymity is affording you a certain type of behavior you couldn't have with somebody face to face. And if we understand what that is, then we understand how we can correlate shame and honor on a more profound level, to where we can share each other's shame, and understand and then hide each other's faults. You know what I mean? And then to sort of elevate each other through that process.
See, that's where I get confused. Like you were asking, you specifically asked the question you just asked upon government and that, and then he answered on you and me here on the panels. That this is where I get a little bit confused. You know what I'm saying?
Well, when I started
I'm hanging out here, man. But
when I started saying that stuff and forgot,
he addressed it to you and me with the answer. What's up, Nody? Let's see, bro.
But yeah, Jack had actually asked, does anybody here on the panel see what I'm talking about?
That's what I'm trying
with
to
ending lies. So I said, yeah, but everybody as an individual has the lies, and also, but a lot of them come from other places, which are consented to on various levels, which some of which are forced or through theft. So yeah, their lies. What I said was there wouldn't really be a government at that point, like anywhere really.
Right. Like that's why I kind of went off that, Jason, because I was trying to say, like, well, if there's no government, then we'd have to just rely on each other. You know what I'm saying? So I was trying to go off of that shit. So that's why I addressed it like in a more general sense than going at it in a policy measure wise. But yeah,
I was just trying to understand. Like
Let
I
me-
understood the question, but to hear it like, so off
All right.
topic, then it
Well,
confused
here,
me. I'm sorry.
please keep listening, and it'll sink in. It'll make sense. Thank
Okay.
you, though. Here's something I considered. Secrets are enabled. Okay, it's very seldom that one
Secrets are
person's individual secret is kept by themselves.
So my individual secret will be kept on. Okay.
Well, no, what I'm suggesting is in the governments and the corporations, there's groups of people who choose that. I think what Machine Lies was saying, in the past, we've had all these people choosing.
In the past, we had
we have people making the determinations of what they think others should and should not know. What I suggest is the truth should be freely shared. We should be able to have our questions answered with facts. We don't need to focus on opinions. See, we live in a pretend world. People are pretending the government and the money all have this power that we can't exist without. It's bullshit. I don't know that we would not have a government in the future, but I expect we could transform the government rather than being a controlling force, a restrictive force.
Yeah, we can transform the government. Yeah.
It could be changed into an administration because that's the actual purpose. It's for the administration of economics, for the distribute, and economics is not just the money. The economics of our lives is the entire distribution of energy, knowledge, resources. If we had a more equitable and fair and righteous distribution of education, resources, and energy, we could work together very, very easily, especially if we were honest, and especially if we were generous with each other instead of selfish. We wouldn't be fighting. What's that?
And I'm flopping all around YouTube. I never met anybody honest. There's not too many people out there honest.
Going
Out
off
of the
of-
100,000 people I met 6 or 7 people that are honest.
There's many
Go-
more.
Many
Going
more.
off of what
Oh,
Jack said,
listen.
if I may,
Please,
going off of what Jack said though, being honest and teaching while like basically giving, like to go back to that idea of feeding people. Listen, of feeding people, and having a place like that. And when I thought that, I didn't mention it at the time because we like moved on, but I thought education has to be part of that. Everything really is education. Everything is, or it's re-education.
Yeah, no, I kind of get you, man. And no matter what you do throughout your day, it's education. Like cooking your breakfast, you learn more. Yeah, I get you. No matter what you do, you're educating yourself.
Like
more.
someone, that principle of like someone's always watching. Like you're not really like, so like you could have little ones in your life, and like
Like, early ages, yeah, I
everyone's
thought
watching.
everybody was watching me.
Everything is being seen, whether you know it is or isn't. Kind of, really.
Yeah.
Break it down to the end.
I get what you were saying. I get what you were saying.
Here's something
Respect that. I respect that.
something to be aware of in each of us particularly when we're offering forth our criticism and offering forth advice in judgment. Most times those are words we need to hear for ourselves. I spent a lot of time believing the world was full of liars, and so I made excuses. I allowed myself to lie to myself. I didn't lie to others except about how I was doing. I never told them how bad off I was.
Yeah,
But go ahead.
when I said that there is only truth, and you just said that like I always thought like a lot of people were liars, and like I kind of find myself falling into that category, that train of thought as well with interactions, like not until
Hope
I
you're
don't know. That's
enjoying
kind of
your
what it's
machine.
kind of what I find. It's not what I go into it with. It's kind of what I find. Damn it, dude. I forget where I was gonna go with it. I'm sorry, dude. You said something though. Oh, fuck, never mind. I can't.
Yeah. Let's get back to that. Here, let's do this shit. Crown Royal. Let's kill the rest of it.
You think that's smart, Jason? Is that a good
fucking
plan?
move.
Good idea for your future?
Yep.
You got it pretty cleared out. Pretty
Yeah,
clearly
absolutely.
figured out.
Absolutely.
Can I encourage you?
Yes, you can question me, and I will answer everything as honest as I could.
Well, I used to be pretty proud of my drinking for a long time. Matter of fact,
okay, before we go any further, we're going to have to establish ages. I'm looking at you. I'm thinking roughly early 50s. I'm 40.
There you go.
There you go. I could be talking shit. I don't know if you want to establish that. I turned 40 in September 19th. I'm 40.
You're old enough to take.
All fake. I dyed it. This is all dyed. I usually look as sexy as that, but damn, you grow that beard very well. I don't know how to do that shit. I tried. I tried.
God does it all.
Machine, I think your beard's fake, so fuck off. But Jack's got the real beard, man. Your shit's fake. Fuck off. He's smiling. He knows this.
Hey, Jason.
Yes. Sorry.
All seriousness. I'm actually, well, no, I don't want to be serious. I want to be fun and helpful. Hey, I want to encourage you, Jason. I lived a life where I found a lot of entertainment in the booze and the beers, the whiskey, the vodka. I found a lot of peace and a lot of friendship and company through those things. But what I didn't realize the damage I was doing to myself and others.
Yeah, high blood pressure, family don't like it. I get you.
Well, it's not just that, it's the time.
It's just that.
The time commitment that we offer to when we're drinking. What we're doing is we're robbing ourselves of energy tomorrow for the illusion of fun today, because when we bring in the beer and the booze, we typically don't feel 100% the next day. Maybe got to chase down something else to get the blood moving and feeling a little better. Maybe that was just me. But drinking typically is a time robbing practice, stealing time from tomorrow for today.
I'll give you that. Yeah, absolutely.
And think about
and I will steal what you first said, exactly, and you stole it back. Depends who you are.
What I started realizing is how much time of my life was wasted accomplishing nothing. And yet I had family and friends and people who I loved that I really wanted to do more for and do more with. But I had such low opinions of myself that I found myself making excuses. It doesn't matter. I'll just go hang out and drink, and they can go do that. But Jason,
yes,
we're here to live, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
The spirits bring us death. They bring us emotional death, mental death, physical death. It's not good for us.
Oh, I hear
And
you.
you're not here for a lecture, but
No, God, no.
Sure.
No, God, no. And this is probably where you would kick me. I'm just going to say straight the fuck up. Then what are you doing on YouTube if you got all that? Because if you don't got time for that, you wouldn't be hosting this. You've got an amazing channel, and I love it to death. You explain to me you're like where you're coming from, and I get it. My babies are upstairs; they're sleeping right now. Wife's up there, dance class in the morning. But you're here preaching to me that.
well, there's another way of seeing it, Jason. Despite the past, your spirit, your choices, your energy brought you to join me today, and my life experience brought me to share these lessons. Okay, and I'm here each day offering the stream. Whoever tunes in, what I'm hoping to share is some inspiration, a little motivation and encouragement that a better life is waiting.
And I'm fucking loving it.
Well, Jason, if you tell you what,
You're having just
if and when you choose to reevaluate where
we'll do it
you're at,
together then, right?
well, the spirit, the divine brought us together today. I'm offering you, reach out to me at a time when you're not drinking, and let's have a conversation, sober and about real life. Let's see what we can discover. When and if you want to reevaluate. Okay.
Cool.
But
Man, here,
I,
I'll get my number, bro. Give me a second here. I'll drop my number.
well, here,
So,
let me do this the other way. Okay. I'll
I
leave my
know.
info and then
No,
you
I don't do emails. That shit's boring. I talk to people.
Right.
I've known people on the internet for fucking years.
There you go.
Okay. And then, yeah.
Numbers in the back.
Cool. Oh, shit. I hit the enter button by mistake. 3 6 6 5 9. That's my number. 3.
Thanks,
6,
Jason.
5, 9.
I think he gave it to everyone, by the way.
That's fine. That's fine, man. My fucking number is posted in every Walmart washroom all across Australia, United States, Canada.
Fascinating. All right.
I don't mind people calling me. That's great. I've learned so much. Swear to fuck, I've learned a lot here off of YouTube.
Well,
I know how stupid I am. That part I didn't learn. I learned everything else.
tell you what, Jason, then maybe this is your final test, because what I want to point you to is your own behavior. That's what
Yes,
I'm encouraging everyone to do, is go within, examine yourself, stop worrying so much about the opinions of other people and start focusing on what is going on within.
Yeah. Yes. I would never. You got it, man.
Hey, Jason, I don't mean to cut the fun off, but we're already over a couple hours. I'm going to toss you to the back, I think. Enjoy a little bit with Machine Lies.
Thanks for having me up.
Thank you, Jason. I appreciate you, brother. In peace. We'll talk later. We do also have Mr. Scott has returned to the back. I know you don't have any issues. I'm going to bring him back up because I do care for Scott. He's proven himself to me to be a friend of mine, even though we don't communicate effectively. So have not yet. Welcome back, Scott.
Jack, I've discussed with you that I'm in critical pain all the time. My back's always a mess. I'm literally disabled, dysfunctional, freaking my spine's gone. And I don't want to say that I don't deal with it well. I deal with it quite well most of the time, but sometimes it's like, holy mackerel, this is a terrible day, a week, or a month. So sometimes I come and excuse me for interrupting you. Just let me finish this thought, because that's what happens is I get sidetracked. I start trying to think of something, get it out, and can't get it out. But when I try and remember things, that's what happens. And then paying attention to somebody becomes even harder because you're trying to recall and focus on what you were trying to express. my general nature is to try and help people. You know that. And it's particularly hard when you're trying to share things that are of sustenance or substance that you believe are, you know, poignant and to the point. And maybe you might have slipped and left some degree of time between something that was said that you're focused on and something that's being said at the current moment. Um, with regards to that, I'll apologize and just tell you what I was trying to bring up a little while ago is everything that's going on is commercial. All the courts are basically 90% fraud because they're dealing in a commercial venue when we're not commercial people. So they're treating us as trusts when you have the right to be seen as a man. And that is what the International Bill of Human Rights says that Canada and the US signed on to. So I just think of things from a perspective where I try and figure them out. I try and read into it and understand. I believe it's number 9 in that IBHR, 9 or 16, that says that you don't have to be basically railroaded the way they're doing all of us through these administrative courts. And I'm a fan of you trying to change things, but that's part of the secret, if you will. I digress. Back to you. I do apologize because I came in a little bit hot, but I just think there's a strong distinction between United States and America, and that is fundamental to the understanding of what's going wrong here.
Thanks for sharing your thoughts, Scott.
Hey, my apologies again. I digress to that.
No, I appreciate the apology as well. I don't know what happened there. Now there's another paradox here, Machine Lies. Actually, Scott, did you drop out on accident?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I just moved the phone and it hit the button. I'm actually stretched out laying against a heating pad and my back's kind of messed up.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to move the phone and hit the button. But no, I didn't come in much. I hadn't been on your stream for much of your stream, but the last maybe 5 minutes before I came up. So I didn't have a lot of context to what you had been talking about. But I know your desire is to make a change in the world, and I'd like to see you do that. But I'd like to, honestly, I'd like to see you understand some of the things that I believe are really fundamental to what's going wrong. It's haywire, and it's because a lot of the people are either in the government or attached to people in the government or
Scott.
relying upon the government dole.
Mm-hmm. Right. I'm very well aware. You keep teaching me things that I already know. Scott, what the thought that came to mind, and please, no offense, but the thought that came to mind, I pay attention to what you're saying. You're saying that people don't treat people like people, they treat them like trusts. Well, Scott, that's what I allege you and many others have been doing, is you've been focused on the property that's related to me, and you've not been really showing much care at all for the man who I am. And Scott, that group, that little clique, you and Flo and the other Chuck and the little cluck buddies that want to gather and gossip like little hens. And I know you've got all the answers, Scott. I encourage you guys to find a little wonder. Wonder what you might have gotten wrong, if anything. I have. I wonder what I do wrong. I wonder what I get wrong. I certainly don't need strangers like you, Scott, clear across the nation telling me what I'm doing wrong. So
Jack, you have to do you. I'm not trying to tell you what you're doing
I
wrong.
know.
I mean,
Hey, Scott, I know you've got your pain to deal with, and I've offered you support, and I've offered you my, resources that I've learned of that actually bring forth healing into our body. But Scott, you've been so focused on correcting me, changing me, telling me what I'm doing wrong. You haven't cared at all about what is available through me. And Scott, I hope you can find a way to end your pain. I know there's ways that you can. I know there's ways that your life can totally transform, just like there's ways my life can totally transform. But as long as our ego minds are focused on the negativity and the problem, guess what? We're denying ourselves. We're not spending any time or attention on the solutions. So it's been kind of a long stream, and Machine Lies, you've been very patient. Scott, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm not going to bring you back up, okay? But Machine Lies, you've been very patient. Your thoughts, ideas.
Well, I kind of understand where everybody's coming from. I think the brother Jason, he tried to offer a critique of addiction itself, or at least that's what I'm getting from it, because he's saying that once you quit drinking, it might be something else, and I have noticed that in my own journey, that sometimes, coffee and cannabis are just a replacement for alcohol in a lot of ways, or sometimes there's that sort of thing, and it's we seem to channel our addictions into other activities, but relying on any material thing for our happiness, that's where the emphasis has to be. We can't be doing that. And once we realize what those things are, those crutches, then we can examine and then take breaks from those things and realize what of our thoughts actually came from those things and not ourselves, and it's good to purify ourselves and purify our tongue and our heart as well, of negative emotions and feelings. And as they say, tongue is a reflection of the heart, and there are words that are lost in thoughts and thoughts that are lost in ideas, and there's
Yes.
many times we don't realize how we got there.
It's amazing. Life is interesting. Hey, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you. Sincerely.
Thank you.
I appreciate you and honor you, my brother. Are you doing anything later? What day is this? Monday.
No, it's
Not
Monday.
today.
No, not today. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
All right. Blessings. We'll connect again soon. Thank you. And brothers and sisters, those who join the panel, those who join the chat, those who just press play at a later date and time on YouTube, on Rumble, or if you found my other page on Facebook, thank you for joining. Sincerely. The conversations we're having, I recognize my flaws. I recognize my imperfections. I believe many of you viewers who've been with me and supporting, you're seeing the growth, and your encouragement is what helps me grow. This world we live in, it can be very negative. It can be very toxic. It can be very painful if we allow it. We have within us the ability, not just within us, but within us. We are all one, right? And I've learned this in my union years, and I've come to know this in my heart and my soul. An injury to one is an injury to the all, right? An injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Justice in this world, in this experience, what justice is supposed to be is righteous love. Justice is not just about punishment and revenge and retribution, like we've got these state agency players doing. We've got people who are lost in their egos, lost in their confusion, perpetuating true evil. Now, good and evil in this realm where we live in, there's the one and there is the whole. Okay, so there's all that is. Within the one and within the whole, there is the duality, the good and the evil. It is true, those do exist. at varying degrees, at varying times, and from varying perspectives. So what may appear as good, what may appear as evil, may not always be. But what I see people doing gleefully, joyfully, running around negative, spreading negativity and insults and personal character attacks, demeaning other human beings. Why? Because they get a kick out of it. That's the evil forces coming through on small degrees, small levels. And I know many people on these YouTube panels, particularly those who have interacted with me, they want to present this idea that, well, if you get moved by words, it's entirely on you. Okay, that's partially true. Now, every one of us, like Machine Lai said, I can't remember his exact words, but it's the words that come from us. The words that come out of us, that's what reveals our heart. That's what shows our true character. The words we offer to the world, that we share with the world, reflect who we are, not others. It reflects who we are. So if you can't be kind, if you can't use the gift of word to share the truth, are you in control? Is that what you want to do? You want to live in this life and spread confusion and false truths? You want to be a false witness and a liar? No. You want to prove your character, refine your character, discover who you are, and lean into it. Recognizing the faith. That's the title of the stream. Recognizing your faith. You do have a faith in you. It's a spirit, it's an energy that you can experience. And me, as follower of Christ under the Bible stuff, Christian ideas, walk with God. Simple as that. Walk with God starting today. Humble yourself. Humble yourself as a child of the infinite. Clear your mind of the arrogance and the negativity and the discontent. Clear your mind of the guilt and the shame. You don't need it. Not if it's not true. And if it is true, fix it. Become better. Prove that you have changed. If you find yourself straying into cruel ways or discovering the truth later than you could, right? At a later time, you find you misspoke, you find you were wrong. That's the time to go correct it. And it's important that we try to correct our mistakes. That's what the true evolution of our spirit is for. I mentioned the term earlier in the stream, and I don't mean to keep going on, but the idea of liberation. It is the act or process of freeing someone or something from another's control. And I want to help you liberate yourself. Only you can choose to give away your control. Only you can choose to ignore your ability of self-control, self-censorship, self-discipline, self-motivation, self-love. Self-love is the way to know all of those things. And brothers and sisters here, I think this is probably good. Character equals mask, acting equals pretend. Take off the masks. Simple as that. Be authentic. Be honest. See what you are instead of pretending who you are. Nude Guru, you get it. And I love the reinforcement and the confirmation that lets me know that I'm getting it too. Thank you, my friend. Brothers and sisters, all of you who tuned in, please and thank you. Special K, yes, please. I meant to bring this up too. Smith may have taken off, but before the stream, Smith shared a link and then it disappeared. I checked his link. He's got more likes on his stream, on his clip, than I've had in the past 30 streams. So please throw a brother a little love, man. Get at least a little like or a share. YouTube, do the follow thing. Facebook, Rumble, whatever. Brothers and sisters, thank you again sincerely. All of you who joined in again today, we will find out what the future brings. So please stay tuned. We'll see what happens in the future. Peace for everyone. Choose love and live without fear. Thank you again, and God bless.